and welcome to episode 292 of the Craft House Magic Podcast. My name's Ellie and I'm coming to you from Norwich in Norfolk, and today I've got some crafty goodness to share with you. So, first of all, I've got some knitting, I have some sewing, I have a sort of blast from the past stroke ask me anything section where somebody's asked me a question. It happens to be about something that I've made before, so I will be chatting about that. I have a little section on what's occurring about meetups and giveaways, and then I will be talking about my shop update, a little update of what's going in the shop, and also a little appearance from Jensen at the end of the video. So let's get on with the knitting, shall we? I don't have any crochet again today. I really need to pull my finger out and get back to the crochet, but I do have a few projects that I've sort of nearly finished at least. This one is my first finished object. This is Nori. So Nori is from the Gnomes of Grimblewood book, which I started a couple of weeks ago, and I am so pleased of how he's come out. It was a lot of fun to knit, and I'm definitely going to make more. So Nori is one of the smaller gnomes out of the book, The Gnomes of Grimblewood by Sarah Shearer. I will leave a link to this in the description bar down below. I picked mine up from Helen from Giddy yarns because she's got some of the books, and she also dyed this yarn as well. This is one of the kits that she's dyed up. You get 3 20-gram minis, and I've actually got at least 12 grams of all of them left, so I could knit another one of these smaller ones anyway. Some of the gnomes are bigger than others. So this kit was called the Spice Gnome set with the 3 sort of purpley pinks. Love it. So this side, if you look really closely, is a little bit more stuffed than this foot. Jensen stuffed it for me, which was so cute. He did a brilliant job with his little tiny fingers, so I just left it how he stuffed it, but it's not too much bigger than the other one, so I've left it how it is because he did it himself, and I thought actually, because he's going to be playing with it as well, it's nice that he's had a bit of an input. So this is Nori. He's got little pockets, his little arms coming in and out of his pockets. You are supposed to put the pockets on the beard, but I really like the idea of having them on the body. You could put them on the beard as well. I was thinking about potentially putting some pockets, like back pockets here. But I haven't done it yet. But he was a lot of fun to knit. Quite simple actually, once you sort of get into the idea of doing it and the process that Sarah's, how she's written the pattern. Once you've sort of done one, you'll realise that it's really quite nice and simple, intuitive, and I'm definitely going to make more. So this is Nori the gnome, and he's supposed to have the pockets on his beard, but obviously I've moved them. But I have got in mind to do this one here with the curly hat and curly beard. What page is he? Here we are. He is called Nolan. So I'm going to do Nolan for Jensen, because Jensen actually asked me to knit this for him. He wants it in like bumblebee colours, stripy, because he'd seen this one on the front. He likes the sort of yellow and black, so I'm going to do those sort of colours, but I might do a brighter body because it's for Jensen. But he looks a lot of fun. He looks quite tall. So Nori is supposed to be 20 centimetres and mine comes up as 19.8, so that's pretty close. And this other one, which is called Nolan, he is supposed to come up at 25.5 centimetres, so he is not one of the massive ones, so he's quite a small one anyway. Well, that's if you do it in fingering weight. If you did it in the DK weight, it's 34.5 centimetres, so he's a relatively small one as well. So I'm sure I'll get him out of like 20-gram minis. I will probably either dye them up or have a look in my stash and see what I've got. So that'll be a lot of fun to knit. So that is my latest addiction, the gnome addiction. But he was lovely to knit, and I'm actually tempted to have these around my craft room, even though it's a bit like having children's toys around my craft room, but you know. a lot of fun. So when I was knitting the arms, because it's sort of 5 stitches in the round, it does say to sort of do I-cord, but to start with I was thinking, can I get away with doing an I-cord with 5 stitches without having too much of a gap around the back? So what I did for the first few rows is actually did a magic loop with 3 stitches on one side of the needles and 2 stitches on the other, and although that was really fiddly, I think it gave a neater sort of hand bit. But then I transitioned to doing normal I-cord for the rest of the arm once it sort of got started, and I was pleased I did that, because I tried to start off straight away with I-cord with the second hand and it didn't come out as neat. So just doing a few rows of the magic loop made the little hand a bit neater, I think. The pockets are really nice and easy to knit. They're just little sort of triangle shapes. The beard was a lot of fun to knit. I really liked knitting that. The nose wasn't too fiddly at all. That was quite easy to do. The feet I did find slightly fiddly. I think you basically, the way you join the feet is that you sort of flip it inside out and do a 3 needle bind off, which gave a really nice finish. But the first one I did, I thought, oh, this feels a bit fiddly. But once I'd got into doing the second one, it felt a lot less fiddly. So really fun to knit. Great to have a go at all these little details on there. And I'm dying to knit the other one. And also I've got in mind some of the others that aren't in the book as well. One that's like rainbow. I've got like a rainbow hat. And the one that's the new knit along that they've just finished to do with like a mushroom. Oh my god, that's gorgeous. So I am going to do some more of those. Oh, I didn't stuff it with any rice or anything because I thought Jensen's going to be playing with it. So I just literally put stuffing inside. But when I stuffed the base of it, I just made sure that I sort of poked in the middle and stuffed right to the edges on the outside so that it would sit flatter. And I think the feet help it sit flatter as well. So that's my little tip on trying to get it to sit flatter if you haven't got anything to sort of weigh it inside. I think they say to use like rice or lots of different things that you can use to get him to sit up straight if you are just going to have him as like a decoration on the side. But that is my first finished object. My second object is almost finished, but it's very, very close. So this is my Joji hood by NNorgard Knitters. Now, I think this is the way how you do it. So I have not finished it because I've got to do I-cord around the front edge here and to do ties around the bottoms. So it goes all the way around the front edge, and then the I-cord ties are longer than the end of this as well. So it'll probably look a little bit better than this once I've actually done the proper ties, but you get the idea. It looks ridiculous. This sort of weather is obviously not ideal. And I look a bit ridiculous in it, I think, but I'm thinking this is going to be super, super cosy when it comes to really cold weather. So I'll turn around so you can see the back. You can see that there's quite a lot of space for sort of a ponytail in there. I have sort of tried it on with a ponytail on and it does fit in. Obviously you'll end up with a bit of a bump at the back as well when you've got a ponytail. But I think that this will keep the cold away from your neck really, really well when it's combined like with a hood and a shawl together. I really like the idea of it, even though I look a little bit ridiculous. But there you go, you get the idea. I think I'm looking forward to giving it a little bit of a block. I think that'll help the drapiness of it. And also when I've got the ties on, I can sort of tie it around the front here to keep it really secure. So I think if you live in a really cold climate, this is an ideal thing to make, even though I feel like I look a little bit silly. But yeah, it's fun to knit. I did think that when I first started doing the sort of square on the top, it went really, really quickly. But once I'd sort of got to the rows are getting longer and longer, it did feel like it was taking quite a long time to knit a row. I do like garter stitch though, lots of fun to knit. Quite straightforward, following the instructions with the increases and things. I think one of the things that makes me not enjoy the garter stitch with this particular project is because it's like a 5mm needle. I think it's either a 5 or a 5.5mm needle. And I find that with anything over sort of a 4.5mm needle, it doesn't feel so comfortable in my hands knitting for a long time on the same needles when they're quite thick. I prefer thinner yarn and thinner needles to work with. I just find it a bit less stressful on my hands. But still, lovely squishy material that comes out in the end, and I think that'll work out quite nicely once I've actually finished the I-cord edging, because it does look a little bit messy when I haven't got that edging on. So the actual pattern, oh, I've got it caught in my hair clips. So the actual pattern is quite a sort of simple shape. You've got that bit that you start off, and then you start working longer rows and end up with like this shape, like that. Love how the garter stitch makes it lovely and squishy, and this is my colourway of the month for April, and it's Listen to Your Heart. I haven't alternated skeins, I've just been knitting it as is. I am on the 3rd skein and I've got that much left to do the I-cord. I believe I'm going to have to go into the 4th one to start it, but I think I'll have quite a lot left, so I might have enough yarn to do a little pair of mittens or something to go with it. When I was doing the bind off on the bottom edge, it's like an I-cord bind off but knitted with the purl side showing, which is quite interesting. I've never used it before. It's quite a nice detail. When it explains it, it doesn't explain to then make sure that your yarn is at the back of the work before you pass your stitches over to the left hand needle in order to continue with the I-cord, and it didn't say to make sure the yarn's at the back of the work, so I assume it's at the back of the work when I look at the actual finished pictures, because otherwise you'd end up with the I-cord showing on the knit side, if that makes sense. I think I've done it right in putting the yarn to the back of the work, even though it doesn't actually describe doing that exactly, because if I look at the photographs you can see the purl bumps on the I-cord edge. And that is on the bottom edge when you cast off, and I've just got to do the I-cord all around the top edge and the hanging off the edges. So that is so close to be finished. I think if I'd have had another night or two, I'd have finished that completely, but I can show you what the difference is with the drape next time, and in 2 weeks time when I've actually finished the cords, the I-cord edges, and blocked it, and you should be able to see a difference with the drape on that one. So I'm really pleased with how that's come along. So the original pattern for this says that you needed 350 grams with using yarn that's 180 meters per skein, and my Aran weight yarn has got 115 grams per skein, but there's 190 meters, so it's very similar meterage. So I dyed up 4 skeins, and I believe that I'll just go into the 4th skein. So depending on what the meterage on your Aran weight yarn is, you might be able to get away with 3 skeins depending on how many grams and how many meters on your skeins. So we shall see how I got on with that next time. The 3rd thing I've got to show you is something that Liz has been working on. So my mother-in-law Liz, Adam's mum, has been working on the Hipster top by Locatelli. Now she's got quite a long way with this. So this is the front. It's got a lovely V-neck, and you've got this beautiful detail on the shoulders here. Obviously when this is blocked you'll see it a lot better, but isn't that pretty? Love that. So that'll be across the shoulders on both sides, and then you've got quite a simple stripy t-shirt all the way down. I will pop a picture on the screen just here so that you can see what it's going to look like when it's finished. So this hasn't got any sleeves added onto there. The actual sleeves are knitted as you go, starting from the top down, and you just knit to the bottom of the body, and then you obviously cast off for the length. So I'm really pleased with how this is coming out. So it's quite a simple knit once you've got to the stage where you've joined it in the round for the body, and it's knitted with 200 gram skeins of yarn. Now, wow, obviously it depends on what size you're knitting. So I've asked Liz to knit the 5th size, which is a 48-inch bust. So he recommends 2 to 4 inches of positive ease, so I've gone for 1 inch, so it's a little bit less than they say. But I didn't want it to be too tight, I wanted it to be a little bit loose, but I don't like to go as much ease as, like, I wouldn't like to go to 4 inches. Plus I was a little bit worried that I would be running out of yarn, because I picked a yarn out of my stash which was by Pixie Yarn. I have hidden the yarn label away, so I don't know what the colourway is, but I will find out for you next week. But this is a Pixie Yarn, which is the pinks with different sort of deeper shades of black in as well. And I've popped it together with the Rhythm of the Night colourway, which is in a Selena base. So the Pixie Yarn is a merino and nylon mix, and the Rhythm of the Night from me is on a stellina base. You can't really see how lovely and sparkly that is in real life. I don't know why it doesn't pick it up on the camera very well, but I do love these two colours together. And I'm very excited to see how this comes out. I did ask Liz to come on the video today, but she didn't have time, so she's just given me this to show, and then hopefully when it's finished she'll come on and chat about how she's actually got on actually knitting it on the video when she's finished this. But I thought it'd be nice to give you a bit of an update on what Liz has been working on. But I love these two colours together. At the moment I've got the Rhythm of the Night on dyed to order, so if you don't have the base that you want in stock at the moment, there is a dyed to order section. They will be on there for a limited time though, so if you do want a particular base that I haven't got in stock, head over to the dyed to order section within the next couple of weeks, because I'm going to change that up and have some different colourways listed as dyed to order. So there we go, that is all of my knitting projects, but a bit of a cheat because Liz has been working on the t-shirt. But I have been doing a little bit of sewing, and I did do a little video tutorial on how I make these sort of fabric bowls, well not fabric bowls, rope bowls. So what it is made of is a cotton cord which is then joined together with zigzag stitches, and I did a video tutorial on the channel last week, and I put it up on Thursday last week so that you could see exactly how I made this. So I used a 6mm cord, which I've now got stocked in the shop if you're interested in getting it. You can purchase like a metre, or if you put like 20 meters in your basket, I'll just cut it as one big length. And then I've also got a listing and then I've got an option to do 10 meters just to make it easier if you wanted to use the same length as I have for this one. So I chose to do quite a shallow bowl for this because I thought I could use it for some little mini yarn balls, or when I want to collect some little minis together for a project. That's be quite handy to collect them together in and see what I've got. I've also used some strips of material of the Liberty fabric bundle of the month for May, and I will show you what those colours are. So they are sort of pinks and greens this time. We've got pink, white and grey floral. We've got a pink, another pink and green, sort of slightly darker this time. We've got some little bouquets of flowers in a pot. We've got a floral background with some different musical instruments. It's sort of a garden party theme, this one. And then finally we've got some flowers, like a sort of wallpaper pattern, which I thought went really nicely together. So that sort of set is now available for the May Liberty Fat Quarter Bundle set. You can subscribe for the rest of the year, or you could just purchase it one-off if you wanted to. So I haven't used that much for this bowl, to be honest, and you can use little scraps of leftover yarn, but it's quite nice to put colours together that really complement each other. I've also used one of my faux leather tags for the edge of the bowl here just to finish it off, because obviously you've got the end of the cord finish in there and it just covers the end up a little bit and just finishes it off nicely. I am very tempted to make some larger bowls and have them as like hanging baskets to go behind me, and have like 3 tiers to put little leftover yarn balls in, to have them on sort of display a little bit nicer. I think that'll be a really nice idea. And these bowls are really actually a lot easier than you think to sew. I used a jeans needle, like a size 90, to work with this, and my machine seemed to cope with it really well. And I used a cotton Aurifil thread to join this as well. I've got the thread in the shop as well. But if you wanted to see more details, you can see the video last week. Here's a closer look at what it looks like finished. So there we go. Hopefully you can have a go at those too. You might have some cord already at home, or some little scraps of fabrics that you wanted to use for something. You could use the scraps of fabric over the whole bowl if you wanted to, but I just liked the way that the cream cord sort of brings it all together. There we go. That is the sewing project for this week. I am planning on doing another little sort of tutorial next week on what you can do with your fat quarter bundles as well, because I didn't do in March this year, I didn't do one, so I need to sort of catch up and doing an extra one so that you've got an idea each month of something to make with your fat quarters. So you can subscribe and actually cancel at any time. It's not sort of, you're not obliged to buy for the whole year, but if you do have sort of 3 months in a row, you do get 5% off the 4th month and going forward as well. So there we go, that is the sewing project that I've got to show you this week. And I've got a sort of blast from the past mixed together with the Ask Me Anything thread in Ravelry. So I had a question from the lovely Jill from Illinois, and she was asking about the Vertices Unite shawl. Now I had a look on my Ravelry page, and I did this 6 years ago, 2019 I finished this project. So Jill was asking me, do I still have it? I do, it's here. I'll hold it the right way up. And would I make it again, and do I have any tips on how to make it? So I made the large version. There is a smaller version of this if you don't like large shawls. Stephen does tend to have quite large shawl projects, so he does quite often give you a smaller version to work with as well. So I've done the large version. Do you know what, I forgot about how much I really liked this. You could really make it look quite different with your colour choices depending on what you chose. And it's just a lovely knit, really lovely. There was a couple of things that I vaguely remember about making this, because 6 years is a long time. So I remember where you join, you quite often when you're sort of knitting and then you're joining in with the adjacent section as you're working it, I remember just to pay close attention to exactly what he says about which way to put the needle in to the adjacent panel that you're sort of knitting into as you're going. So that is my tip for that bit. And also the I-cord, I find that I tend to knit I-cord quite tightly. So my tip would be to either use a larger needle to cast off that I-cord or work the I-cord, or in the middle of the I-cord, if you do a yarn over as you're knitting it, and then when you sort of slip your stitches, drop that yarn over so that you've got a little bit of extra sort of yarn in there, so it doesn't make your I-cord quite so tight if you're using the same needle size. So that's another tip that I would give you. I do have a couple of tutorials about how to work I-cord around a project, so if you need a little bit of help on I-cord, I'll leave links to those video tutorials in the description bar down below. But I do love an I-cord and the way it sort of finishes off a project really nicely. I think when I was making this, I think what I would have done is, if I'd have made it again, is make sure that I'd got a bit more contrast on this, between this larger panel and the panel below it, because I've got more contrast on the rest of the shawl. But I did really enjoy working it up, and you could use this pattern to use sort of leftover yarns as well. And I shall show you how I normally sort of wear it. Do you know what, I haven't worn this one for a while actually. I tend to wear my shawls a lot like a scarf normally, because they are sort of easier to keep on, and I like the way it sort of snuggles around your neck. When you've got like a coat over the top, it keeps your front nice and warm when you've got it open slightly. So that's how it looks when I got it around my neck. And then if I do wear it like a shawl, it does cover your back quite a lot. Let's move this chair out of the way. So you could wear it over your shoulders like this. I did see, I think it was it the Crayabea? She did one with a smaller shawl than this. She did like a knot. I think it was Crayabea, or it might have been Justine Locatelli. Do a knot in one side and then pull the other side through, and that can sort of hold your shawl. Obviously it doesn't look quite so attractive when you've got quite a large shawl. You could sort of do it like this. Much better when it's actually a smaller shawl really, but you could, that's another option you could do. But there we go. I do love a large squishy shawl to keep you nice and cozy. So hopefully that answers your questions, Jill, and I hope you enjoy knitting the Stephen West Vertices Unite shawl. I do love a Stephen West shawl. They're lovely and big, and they're always quite interesting to knit. Now we're moving on to the What's Occurring section. So we've got Barbara's Day Out, the next one, coming on the 24th of May. That's a Saturday at Dunstan Hall this time again, 1 until 4, and the postcode is NR14 8PQ. But I will leave a link in the description bar down below to my little page that shows you the upcoming dates for Barbara's Day Out, and then I just have to update that rather than putting the dates on the individual videos, and then you might get the older dates on there. So that will lead you straight to the current dates. I need to actually organise more future dates. We've got the Swaffham meetup in June coming up as well, but I need to then arrange the up and coming ones after that. But we've got a couple of dates in the diary. So I forgot to say as well, we always have a meetup on a Tuesday at the Bull Pub in Helsden in Norwich. If anyone lives close and would like to come and meet us, everyone is welcome. Me and Sam from SR Designs Crochet organised it. She's also got a YouTube channel as well, so if you pop over to my meetup section on my website, there's a link to her YouTube channel and Instagram as well if you want to follow Sam. We meet up every Tuesday 7:30 onwards, and it's lovely to catch up with everybody. So everyone's welcome, so you can just come and turn up and say hi to us. At the moment, we're having a bit of a gnome off. There's a couple of ladies knitting some gnomes, especially Karen. She's done 2 this week already. So actually, if you pop over to Sam's video, she'll have a vlog coming up in the next week or so, and it'll probably show you our little row of gnomes that we had on the table at the last meetup. Maybe when next time we get a little group of the gnomes together, I might take a little clip of video, if I remember to take the video before it gets dark, because the light isn't brilliant in the pub for taking actual video. So there we go. Anyway, I digress. We had a box that was donated to us from the Wool and Women Fibres, which is the Daisies and Denim set, and I drew a winner a couple of weeks ago, which was Christina Maramas 84297, and they hadn't contacted me yet. So if that is you, make sure you email me on ellie@crafthousemagik.co.uk and let me know your postal address so I can get that sent out to you. If I don't get a reply by the next podcast video, which will be in 2 weeks, I will draw another prize again. The last thing I wanted to chat to you about is that I am in the process of sorting out European postage. So I have actually paid the fee that I need to sell everything I have on my shop. It's not just yarn, it's needles. Everything that I sell on my shop will be available to sell to the EU after I've sorted out all the paperwork. So at the moment, I haven't done it so that I've set it up ready yet, but it will be in the next, I'm hoping that it'll be the next week. There is a lot of paperwork to sort out, adding SKUs and documents to the website and things, so I need to do all that. But if you are subscribed to my email, I will send an update email once the shipping is then available for Europe, so that you can actually get hold of you can pre-order your advents. So that will be, the advents will be open till the end of May, and then I'll have another batch of advents that will be available in August. So at the moment there are some payment plan advents in the shop that are available, but in August obviously there won't be payment plan because that's getting closer to the date where they're actually going to be shipped anyway. If you opt for the payment plan option, you don't have to do the payment plan. You can just pay it in one go if you wanted to, but the payment plan option, you pay obviously one initial payment, and then it'll be at the beginning of the month for the next 3 months for 4 payments in total. There's no additional cost for a payment plan compared to the paying it in one go. It just depends on what you prefer to do. So I've also sort of kind of slipped into shop update at the same time. Sort of telling you about sort of EU postage. But I do have the May colours of the month are now in the shop, and the colourways are inspired by the song I'm a Believer by the Monkees, and the actual titles of each of the yarns are I'm a Believer. I should really sing them a little bit, at least. do apologise for the singing, but it's I'm a believer, and then love was out to get me. And then when I saw her face, and then no doubt in my mind, and then I couldn't leave her if I tried. There you go. There's a little bit of singing so you know which bits of the song are inspiring the actual colourways. Oh dear. I do apologise, but at least you know, you might, if you didn't remember the song straight away, hopefully my terrible singing will get you the idea of what song it's actually from. So you can purchase those as sort of mini sets, maxi sets, which is either 50 gram or 100 grams of each of those colours. You can do the 100 gram order of each of those colours. You can choose which of those colours you want. You can do a sock set, you can do a shawl set. If you pop over to the website, there's separate listings for each of those, so you can sort of choose which one you actually want. But if you wanted, say, 100 gram skein of I couldn't leave her if I tried, you could select that from the 100 gram skein listing. So hopefully you can sort of understand how complicated, because it's quite complicated with the different choices that you can have. But if you do have any questions, just drop me an email and I can help you, or create a cart for you if you're a bit confused by all the listings. So those are the May colourways. I will also have a stack of the bag making kits going in the shop this Friday at 7 PM that I actually put together for this show for the East Anglia Yarn Festival. I hadn't had a chance to put on the shop yet, but they are special kits because they have the instructions for both the drawstring and the zipped versions, and they have the bag handles material as well in there, so you get a little bit of a better deal with all the extra pieces. So for the different options, I sort of simplified it a little bit so that I could make it less complicated for the show. So those are going to be in the shop for the same sort of price as you'd get just for the drawstring or just for the zipped, for instance. So those will be in the shop this Friday, and I will send an email out to email subscribers when that is listed. I am also in the process of listing a lot more of the yarn that I took to the show as well. So there will be a new batch of different minis on there, and also the new colourways, which are partly, well, you can't really see, a lot of them are on this box up here, which are the sort of blues and greens. I'll have some mini sets of those up as well, which I didn't get round to putting in the shop before, so I do apologise. So there should be quite a big shop update coming up on Friday, and I'm hoping that I can get the EU postage done for Friday. If not, I will send you another email when that is sorted out. But I think that's it for today. I feel like I'm getting a bit of a croaky voice. I've been babbling on. But now it's over to Jensen. What did you decide that you're going to call him now?
Bingo.
Bingo? You said George earlier, didn't you? I can't see you, Jensen. Is Bingo hiding in the Bluey's house then? I think he's a bit squashed in there. Or she. Sorry, I said she. Should be a she, shouldn't it, if it's Bingo? Who did you see at the weekend?
Buddy and Bingo.
Yeah, we went to Pensthorpe, didn't we? Did you like it?
Yeah.
And we got this, didn't we? And you've been playing with the box.
Yeah.
What have you been painting? Are they these ones? You're drawing on Bluey and Bingo, these squishy toys, haven't you? You're doing some art.
Bingo.
Is this Bingo?
Yeah.
You did well, didn't you? You were very patient when you went to see Bluey and Bingo, weren't you? You're a very good boy. So we got you a little present. We had to wait about half an hour, you see, didn't we? Anyway, can you say bye-bye to everybody?
Bye-bye.
So that was the end of the video. Thank you so much for sticking to the end. So if you've watched this far, could you put a little heart emoji in the comments down below to let me know that you've actually watched right until the end. And then on the next podcast, I think I'm going to do some giveaways for people who watched right until the end as well. So thank you so much for watching. See you next week for a video tutorial on how to do something with sewing, and I'll do a podcast the week after. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye!